In the 1600s, Archbishop Tillotson noticed that magicians used a phrase at the key point of the magic trick, hocus pocus. He noticed that this was similar to what the priest says during Mass, when the bread and the wine are transformed into the body and the blood of Christ, hoc est corpus. And so he reasoned that the early magicians were mocking the Eucharist. They were mocking Christianity and saying it's nothing but a magic trick. But what if the magicians were correct? What if Christianity is nothing to do with belief, tribal identity, going to church on a Sunday? But Christianity actually is a magic trick, a sleight of hand, something that we're all invited to participate in that is wondrous and ultimately transformative. So the traditional Vanishing Act has 3 parts, and these have been called the pledge, the turn, and the prestige. The pledge is where an object is offered to the audience to see. The turn is the point when it's placed behind a curtain and it disappears. And then the prestige is when the object returns. When I was young, somebody taught me a magic trick that illustrates this. It's very simple. You have a coin. This is the pledge. You rub the coin on a table and then rub it against your arm. And you perform this act 2, maybe 3 times. And eventually, if the trick goes well, the coin magically disappears into the person's arm. Then, while people are looking for the coin, you simply lift up a nearby cup and show that the coin is there. Now, of course, if anyone's been watching closely, you know exactly how I did this. At first, I have the coin in my left hand when I'm rubbing it on the table. And then very subtly, I put it in my right hand and place it on the back of my neck. And the coin that's under the glass is one that I placed there earlier. You see, in a traditional magic trick, what you receive at the end is never quite what was made to disappear. In Christianity, we can say it has 3 parts, expressed in the Eucharist. The first is the pledge, the bread and the wine, these mundane objects that are made to symbolize the sacred, the divine, the absolute. These are before us as an object. And we all have sacred objects, whether that's religion, whether that's a relationship, whether we think it's money. The sacred object is that thing that we believe will make us whole and complete, will take away our suffering and our brokenness. And that's the pledge of Christianity. The turn of Christianity is the disappearance of the sacred object. We consume the bread and the wine. It disappears. This is the nihilistic heart of Christianity, the death of God, the loss of the object that you think will make you whole and complete, the object that you chase after, that you feel you need in order to live. But the trick doesn't end there. There's a prestige, where you get back something that looks a little bit like what you lost, but is slightly different. And this is the return of the sacred. You're waiting for the return of the sacred. And then you get up from your seat and you talk to the person on your right or on your left. You ask them how their week's been. You talk about their suffering and their joys, and you share your own struggles. And you realize that the sacred is there in the midst of life itself, no longer as an object that you love, but rather as the name you give to the experience of depth and density in the act of love itself. This is not a sacred that helps us run from our suffering. It's not a sacred that gives us wholeness and completeness. It's an experience of fulfillment and meaning and beauty in the midst of life's difficulties, in the midst of lack, in the midst of our sufferings. It's an ability to say yes to life in the midst of the darkness, rather than always trying to escape it.